Have you ever wondered if Sanguinius' sword Encarmine is actually stronger than Horus's talon? Or if the Pale Spear could vaporize Conrad Kurz's Lightning Claw's Mercy and Forgiveness? Well, if you have, you're in the right place. Because in today's episode of Powerscaling Peeps, we're ranking every single Primarch weapon across all of Warhammer 40k, from legendary relics like the Spear of Telesto, all the way down to the random power sword and shield Dorn used against Demon Primarch Fulgrim in the book Saturine. That's 67 weapons in total, folks, ranked purely on abilities, powers, and on-page feats across the lore. All to answer one simple autistic question: which Primarch weapon is actually the strongest in all of Warhammer 40k? Big shout out to the coolest crab around, Crabzilla, who compiled this entire list for me, out of the kindness of his heart. This video would not be possible without his help, and I greatly appreciate it. Everyone, go drop in the comments some love for the almighty crab. And now, without further ado, let's jump into the cowhole. Say it with me, fellas. It's time to Powerscale. Hello, it is your favorite fallen cow back with another tremendously long video, this time power scaling every single Primarch weapon from across, holy shit, there's so many. I compiled this tier list and I never thought to truly look at the size here, and now that I'm zoomed in at 200%, wow, this is a daunting task. I think this is the most things I've ever ranked in my entire cow life. I think the Horus Heresy book ranking video was 54. So this is what math isn't mathing. So 67 minus 54. Oh boy. 13? Is that right? Yeah, 13. As you can tell, I'm not a mathematician. I'm just simply a cow. Yeah, but there are 67 Primarch weapons, and I did not mean to do that on purpose, folks, but since I did, I'm gonna have to do it. 67! Yeah, okay. Cringe alert, but I had to do it. So yeah, we have 67 Primarch weapons to get through today. Quite a few. I included literally every single one that had at least something about it, whether that was a description or maybe like an ability, but some of these have like nothing. Like Horus Lubrical has a twin link bolter he uses in one book, the Eye of Terror, and he never uses it again. Same with the power sword. So some of these are really kind of niche picks, but as you know, with the Fallen Cow video staple, you got to go as autistic as possible into the details so you don't miss anything. Let's get to the tier list classics. So what am I wearing? I have a nice pair of shorts on. It's pretty warm in my house right now. I didn't want to get too hot and bothered while I'm ranking these bad boy weapons. And I'm wearing a nice crew neck. It has Quicksilver on it. I think it's a good brand, nice and cozy for these long, cold winter months. And as with any Fallen Cow video, I'm going to do a little sip of coffee. I know some people are not the biggest fans of it, so I'm going to make it nice, short, and sweet. But I also really need this cup because I'm looking at a very long list. Hold on, let me take a sip. Oh, man. Once again, I like to drink straight black coffee to the dome. Let's go through the tiers. So we have 6 tiers in total. We have Universal, Beyond Primarch, Primarch, Empowering, Standard, and the infamous Ghost Corral. Let's start from the top. So Universal tier are weapons that operate on a reality-altering or cosmic scale. These can permanently kill entities tied to the warp, like greater demons or even demon primarchs, which I don't think we've seen across the setting, but theoretically these weapons can. They usually ignore conventional durability or directly affect reality itself rather than just the target. If a weapon is in this tier, it is breaking the rules of the setting, period. Next, we have Beyond Primarch. Beyond Primarch weapons push their wielders past normal Demon Primarch level and actively and actively tilt the balance of power. These weapons consistently overpower Primarch tier opponents, scale directly to Demon Primarchs, powerful warp entities, or Emperor level threats, and can decisively swing fights between Primarchs rather than merely compete. So these are weapons that scale beyond Primarch tier. They are very powerful, but they're not breaking reality like Universal. So beyond Primarch, very powerful against Primarch level foes. They scale above it entirely. They can kill them outright. Universal, though, is weapons that are altering reality and killing warp entities, period. Next is the simple Primarch tier. So Primarch tier represents true baseline Primarch. These weapons can go hand to hand against the Primarchs, but they're not outright deleting them like beyond Primarch, or they're just powerful enough to either cripple, injure, and in situations outright kill a Primarch level threat. However, these weapons do not automatically decide the outcome of a fight. Skills, tactics, durability, and matchups still matter, and clashes between Primarchs wielding weapons of this tier remain contested and back and forth. So it's a pretty standard. It's pretty much your right smack in the middle. These weapons are pretty powerful, but they're not breaking the balance between the 19 degenerate space babies. Then we come to empowering, and these weapons are dangerous on their own, but the real strength comes with how much power they amplify the wielder. These weapons can enhance speed, strength, damage output, you name it, but they're not really altering the fight between Primarchs or with Primarchs against highly dangerous foes. So they're aiding them in battle, but they're not explicitly changing the outcome of the fight. They're just kind of aiding the Primarch towards victory, so to say. In standard, it's pretty much just like a standard weapon. Not really a powerful relic, so to say, but it's kind of like a standard issue relic like a bolter. I mean, hint, hint, bolter, or like a power sword. It's just a standard weapon in a Primarch arsenal. And I'm really confused why a Primarch would use a standard weapon at all when he has access to everything else that's broken under the sun. So Primarchs who use standard tier weapons are just kind of like giving themselves an unneeded nerf for silly reasons. And Cow's Corral, the weapon is pathetic. It's stupid. I don't understand why the Primarch's even using it. I really don't think a lot of weapons are even going to be considered for this category. I know one for a fact is going to end up here. Take a guess. I'm just going to let you look at this for a second. Take a guess, because one of these things is not like the other. That's gonna definitely end up there. I don't know what else is gonna end up there, because these are Primarch weapons, so at the end of the day, they're at least competent, at least a little bit, if they're not overtly powerful, if that makes any sense. So those are our 5 or 6 tiers: Universal, Beyond Primarch, Empowering, Standard, and Games Corral. So make your bets, people. How many are gonna end up in Universal, and how many are gonna be corralled by your favorite fallen cow? So now that we've gone through the tiers and we've talked about some silly things and done the classic fallen cow intro, it's time to start ranking these bad boys. Starting with the Lion Sword, the weapon of Lionel Johnson. So the Lion Sword is Lionel Johnson's main sword he uses in the books The Great Wolf all the way up to Angels of Caliban, where it is shattered in half by Rabute Gilliman after Lionel Johnson does some pretty mean things to the 500 worlds in the pursuit of the maddened Conrad Gers. So we see this sword quite a bit, actually. He uses it most of the time during the Great Crusade, and for probably most of when we see him during the Horus Heresy. So that's the Great Wolf, Angels of Caliban, and the Unremembered Empire. So yeah, quite a bit. What do we know about it? It is a power sword crafted on Terra by the Emperor's own armorers, and it glows with a pale inner light and ignites anything it cuts with a sudden burst of flame. So, has a pretty good little power right off the bat. What feats do we have from it? So, from the Great Wolf, we saw that it stalemated against Leman Russ's Kraken Maw, left rents in Leman Russ's armor, and then stalemated a basic power axe. So that's what we see in the Great Wolf. Not the greatest feats, but able to cut up Leman Russ's armor, which is already a Dark Age of technology gear. Pretty impressive. We later see it easily cut through Conrad Gers' armor itself, Nightmare's Maul during the Imperium Secondus arc during the book Angels of Caliban. Pretty impressive. Also broke in half, though, when Brute Gilliman snapped it across his hand. So, from what we know, it's not very durable, and it can cut through Primarch armor like butter. So it's very lethal, but it does not seem to be very durable, which may be an issue most of these weapons suffer. Finally, during the book The Great Wolf, it cut easily through Leman Russ's unexposed, unprotected chest. So it's not the greatest feat, but it is still pretty impressive that it was able to easily go through a Primarch's flesh, which is sometimes very hard to penetrate. What do we think about this one? I'm going to say it's Primarch tier, but due to the Gilliman anti-feat where it's easily snapped, Brute Gilliman picks it up and snaps it in like a stick. It'll probably be near the back of the Primarch tier once we get everything going and settled, because it's not very durable and it's easily destroyed. So yeah, I'm going to leave this one in Primarch tier. It has a really cool ability, but we never really see him use it. Igniting something with sudden bursts of flame. We never see him use that. When he fights the other Primarchs, it never catches Conrad Kurz on fire, and it never catches Leman Russ on fire, suggesting that it's not going to really affect a Primarch, but still it's able to damage Primarch armor, so I would argue that that makes it probably in the back of the Primarch tier. Wolfblade is next. So Wolfblade is only ever used in one book, and that's Ruinstorm, because the Lion's Sword is broken in the Angels of Caliban, which is the book before Ruinstorm. So he wields the Wolfblade. The Wolfblade is a massive ancient chainsword with silver runic teeth, and that's all we really know about it. It's only used in Ruinstorm, like I just said, and it has a couple feats. Cuts through a demon that has been no-selling bolter fire, severed the arm of a large greater demon, cut the throat easily of a large demon, but the only downscale we have here is when he attempted to break a massive chaos portal, it didn't really have any effect on it. So we know it's effective against demons, but not much outside of that. It just lacks feats overall, and he doesn't ever use it again, which suggests that it's not that powerful a weapon. So I'm going to put it in the empowering tier. I'm trying to be real cynical with these weapons, guys, so if your weapon gets placed lower than it should be, it may be because it doesn't have enough feats to quantify it being higher than it actually is. So I'm going to leave the Wolfblade in the empowering tier. It just doesn't have a lot of feats. It's only seen once, and it can't take out a Chaos Portal. So I'm going to leave it in empowering. Next, we have Lionel Johnson's pistol he used throughout the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, the Fusil Actinius. I hope I said that right. It is a highly advanced plasma gun, and that's all we truly know about it. It was created on Terra during the Old Night, and apparently it can unleash plasma bolts that are capable of melting power armor and vaporizing unarmored foes. The pistols, all the Primarch pistols are really hard to rank, and none of them are ever really used, except for a couple of them, like the Infernus, like Sanguinius's. Angron never uses his. I don't think Corvus Corax ever uses his. Lorgar certainly does not use his Archaeotech pistol. It's very interesting how they give all these Primarchs pistols, but they never fucking use them, because it's not cinematic, guys, to shoot something. You have to get in there and fucking chainsword its head off. So the Fusil Actinius suffers from that same exact fate. I'm going to put it in the empowering tier. We know it can shoot through tanks. It has apparently really strong plasma bolts, but we don't really see it in action to give it the credit it's due to put it in the Primarch, above Primarch, or the Universal tier. So I'm going to leave it empowering. It's a pretty strong weapon, no doubt, but we just don't see enough from it to quantify it even further than that. I just don't know if it could take out a Primarch level threat like a Greater Demon, or say a Swarm Lord, or a Phoenix Lord, or anyone that is in the Primarch tier. I just don't know if it could take out an enemy like that. So I'm going to leave it in the empowering tier. It's probably really strong, but alas, we don't know much about it. Now, fast forward to the current setting, and we have Lionel Johnson's current weapon inventory. So we have Fealty first, which is a powerful Radiant Power Sword wielded by the reborn Lionel Johnson. He found it in the mysterious Mir Caliban, you know, the land where he forest walks, so he found this random blade there, picked it up, and now wields it. Apparently, it can channel the sheer prowess of the Primarch using it. So Lionel Johnson, who is already one of the strongest Primarchs, using this sword, it probably amplifies his combat prowess exponentially. And from the feats we see in the Son of the Forest, Arc of Omens, and the Dark Angels 9th Edition Codex, it clearly shows it's pretty powerful. He's able to use it to stab through Demon Primarch Angron multiple times, and he cuts him, ending up, I think, skewering him like a kebab. He's able to kill a Screamer Killer, a Tyranid, really powerful Tyranid entity. He's able to kill Carnifexes and a Hive Tyrant, and he's no-diffing Obliterators and Terminators. So what does this mean? It's either at the top of the Primarch or it's beyond Primarch. I think that it's able to, like, pretty decisively wound a Demon Primarch several times. I'm going to put it in beyond Primarch, and it seems to be able to channel Lionel Johnson's true prowess. So I'm going to say it's beyond Primarch. So yeah, it's a pretty strong weapon. Next we have the Emperor's Shield. So the Emperor's Shield, fucking wonderful. It honestly could be argued universal, but I'm going to put it in beyond Primarch. This weapon is insane. It's a legendary relic from the Emperor himself, first seen in Son of the Forest, and it's insane. It rebounds every single attack that hits it. It's able to stagger Demon Primarch Angron several times, tank hits from Demon Primarch Angron several times, bounce them back at him, which is simply broken, and it's able to perma-kill demons and was able to banish Demon Primarch Angron. I'm honestly going to put it in universal. That is an insanely powerful weapon. Like, I literally don't know what could theoretically breach the Emperor's Shield. It is such a powerful weapon, like hand in hand with the fact that it can perma-kill demons and is able to banish a Demon Primarch. I mean, do I even need to say more? It's an insanely powerful weapon. Now we come to the Lion's last weapon, the Arma Luminis. So the Arma Luminis is an Archaeotech combi weapon, combining a plasma pistol with an automatic bolt pistol. That's all we really know about it. It's seen to be able to shoot through enemy battle tanks and reinforced bulkhead doors. That's all we really see. It's not truly really ever used because, you know, like I said, the Lion and the other Primarchs, it's not cinematic to shoot someone. So I'm just going to put it in the empowering tier. And since it has more feats than the Fusel, I'm just going to put it right here. Now, honestly, pretty damn good inventory for the Lion. He's got a universal weapon. He's got a beyond Primarch weapon. Honestly, his weapons in the current setting are fucking broken. But, God, look at those. Look at that mane. That man, he knows what he's doing. He's the Steve Harrington of Warhammer 40k. But off to a pretty good start with Lionel Johnson. Let's get to Fulgrim next, but let me take a sip of coffee first. Oh yeah. Okay, Fulgrim's next, starting with Fireblade. Fireblade's really weird. It's a master-crafted weapon by Ferrus Manus. It's shown to be able to cut through bulletproof armor, slightly penetrates Fulgrim's own armor when Ferrus and Fulgrim fight in the book Fulgrim. And honestly, you just don't see much from it. I don't know. And it was easily shattered by Ferrus Manus in their first fight in the book Fulgrim. So it doesn't seem to perform well against Primarchs, and kind of similar to the Lion Sword, but it doesn't seem to have any other effect besides being a blade lit on fire. And Fulgrim quickly gets rid of it in favor of the Layer Blade, which we're about to discuss next. So I'm gonna put at the top of empowering. That might be a very niche pick, and I feel like someone's gonna be like, actually, Fallen Cow, the Fireblade did this and this, and you're probably going to be right. But unless I missed it, I don't see the Fireblade really performing that well, especially because Ferrus Manus literally shattered it very easily in their first fight. Granted, he rebuilt it and then used it in their second fight, but I don't know. It cuts through Fulgrim's armor pretty well, actually, now I'm thinking about it. But it doesn't seem to do a ton of damage, and that may be because of Ferrus Manus' strength alone. But Fireblade ends up in the empowering tier. A very spicy take this early on in the video. Up next is the infamous Lair Blade from the book Fulgrim, and is the main culprit of Fulgrim turning into a ketamine addict. This blade is pretty broken. Besides its feats, which are very impressive, it's a buffing weapon right off the bat. It has a greater demon in it, and although it is corrupting Fulgrim, it's also giving him immense strength in several scenarios. First, during his battle with an Avatar Kane, and second, against Ferrus Manus, where he just straight up overpowers one of the strongest Primarchs in 40k. So, right off the bat, this is an above average weapon, probably. It's probably over fealty, if I'm being honest. I don't think it gets into universal, but it's very strong. Its feats include clashing with an Avatar of Kane, breaking a Wraith Knight's sword and killing it, chopping through tanks and dreadnoughts easily, and then decapitating Ferrus Manus with one single strike. So, right off the bat, it's got some pretty good feats that I would probably put in Primarch tier. But the fact is that it gives a buff to its user, although it comes with the negative effect of addiction to horse tranquilizers. I think it's pretty damn strong on its own. And from the events we see in Fulgrim, Fulgrim becomes a monster in that book due to this blade. So it has some negative effects, obviously, that are not the best, but the combat prowess that comes with this blade is simply incredible. I just don't think it gets into universal. I don't think it's taking hits from a demon Primarch easily and reflecting it and being able to permanently kill warp entities, but coming with a strong buff like the Lair Blade, I would say it's beyond Primarch. Okay, Firebrand's next. This is an interesting one. It's simply a Volkite charger. I looked it up and I read the description found in Fulgrim, the Palatine Phoenix, not Palpatine. This isn't Star Wars. The Palatine Phoenix. And it's literally just a simple Volkite charger. So I'm just going to put it in standard. All it does is shoot through a wall. That's it. So the blade, I'm not going to go in depth on that. Blades of the Phoenician are next. The Blades of the Phoenician are a collection of multiple blades. So the Fire Blade is definitely one of them. The Lair Blade is definitely another. You can see it right there. So you have the Lair Blade, you have Fire Blade, and you have another blade. It's 4 blades. One that might be acidic, I believe. I think it's an acidic blade. It's stated in the book The Dark Imperium to melt Guilliman's armor. So another one of these blades is able to melt Guilliman's armor, Primarch armor. We don't know explicitly what that weapon is in classic GW fashion, but we do know he has Fire Blade and the Lair Blade and a random acidic blade, probably some Slaaneshi weapon. But there is a theory running around, and I'm going to factor it into this Primarch tiering weapon, and I'm going to factor it into this weapon ranking, is that this final sword Fulgrim uses is the 5th and final Crone Sword the Eldari need. So, for reference, the Crone Swords are able to do wildly different and powerful abilities, from turning victims to ash, to absorbing their life force, and to be able to shapeshift into anything the user needs. So, from this, I would argue that final weapon is indeed a Crone Sword, and with all 4 weapons brought to the table, I think this is a universal plethora of weapons, if that makes any sense. It's not exactly fair to consider all 4 of these weapons into one, but we're going to do it anyway just to kind of glaze Fulgrim for a little bit. Yeah, so he has Fireblade. He may have a Crone Sword with abilities that are similar or relative to the other Crone Swords. He has the Lair Blade, and he has a 4th blade, which is probably one that is able to poison or damage Primarch armor, that's one of its capabilities. So, from what we know, that's those 4 weapons are pretty goddamn broken, and I think it easily puts it in the universal tier. Because with all 4 of those weapons, he should be able to destroy most of the Primarchs in combat. But I guarantee you, when we get Fulgrim fighting a Primarch in the relatively near future, he will lose, and I will rant about it for an hour. I'm putting my money on it, guys, and if I'm wrong, you guys can milk me. Oh boy. So that's Fulgrim. He ends up with a lot of really strong weapons, and then he ends up with a couple weapons. The Fireblade is just such a mystery, guys. I just wish we saw more from it, but it just kind of disappears after the heresy. And yes, I know Fireblade is with the Blades of the Phoenician, but we haven't exactly seen these weapons in action. So when I'm ranking at Universal, it very well could be below that. But based on the theory, which I'm going to be using here, which is not exactly fair, but I personally believe it's true because it's the only thing that would make sense. Imagine you're the Eldar, and Fulgrim comes back with the Crone Sword. That would be awesome. Because there's the end game right there. Obviously, they're not going to get it because everyone hates the Eldar. But imagine, there it is. Your Slaanesh can be defeated. Yenneed can be reborn. There's your plot. Perfect. I mean, Games Workshop probably won't do that, but I'm manifesting it. So I'm going to be using the theory that the Blades of the Phoenician have the Crone Sword within it. So that's why it's in Universal. Definitely very, very debatable. Let's get to Perturabo. And Perturabo has some really strong weapons. And I counted the logos because it has weapons like missiles, bolters, and it's heavily armored. So I brought this in there. It's not strictly a weapon. It's more of like a suit of armor, but I still brought it along for this power ranking. I think I brought along another suit of armor. Oh yeah, the Medusan Carpies for Ferrus Manus. So just to make things fair, I brought both of the... But now let's get to Perturabo. So Perturabo has Forgebreaker as well. So we're going to be ranking both of them because I think there's definitely a slight variation between Ferrus Manus's Forgebreaker and Perturabo's Forgebreaker. So Forgebreaker is Ferrus Manus's original Warhammer. It was taken by Fulgrim, given to Horus, who then gave it to Perturabo, who then heavily modified it, taking away all the elegance and grace of the weapon and making it more damaging and powerful. So, Forgebreaker with Perturabo is naturally stronger than Forgebreaker under Ferrus Manus. Sorry, Iron Warrior fans. Sorry, Iron Hand fans. You guys got screwed over yet again. So, what feats does Forgebreaker have? So, in Angels Exterminatus and Slaves to Darkness, we see it shatter Titan armor, explode Space Marines on contact, flip over rhinos, and it was able to shatter Demon Primarch Angron's armor, but it wasn't able to really deal a damaging blow, so it is going to go in the Primarch tier over Lionel Johnson's sword, but not in the Beyond Primarch tier because it didn't really do too much damage to Demon Primarch Angron. Up next, we have the Logos, which is Perturabo's armor, and it's not really a quote-unquote weapon, but at the same time it kind of is because it has wrist rockets. Watch those wrist rockets. Did anyone get like a Battlefront 2 flashback there? Because I certainly did. Sorry, my ADHD kicked in right there. Yeah, but it's armor, but it's like Iron Man's suit, which is a horrible analogy. Yeah, Perturabo is Tony Stark in the 42nd millennium. I need to stay on topic. Okay, so Perturabo's armor, the Logos, has quite a lot of feats, I'm not gonna lie. It, besides being incredibly tanky, as it was able to tank hits from Demon Primarch Angron in Slaves to Darkness that were literally manipulating reality itself and time and space. It also has the ability to obliterate Space Marines and wounds Demon Primarch Angron considerably with its munitions that entail explosives, incendiary, and energy munitions. So, it's very tanky. It has a lot of damage output from its various weapons equipped with it. And overall, it's pretty goddamn strong. I'm going to put it in the above Primarch tier, beyond Primarch tier, above Fealty, but below the Lair Blade. So, it's pretty strong. Yeah, it's pretty goddamn strong. That's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, I mean, tanking Demon Primarch hits that were manipulating reality itself several times and only getting wounded a couple times from it. Like, the armor was only penetrated, I think, 2 or 3 times by Angron's strength. Really shows that the Logos is built different. I kind of want to do a video in the future discussing all the Primarch armor. That would be a pretty fun video. I would obviously include the Logos yet again. But I think some of the Primarch's armor is not that... you can't really power scale it, if that makes sense. Like, I know for a fact, Conrad Kurz's armor, the Nightmare Mantle, has nothing about it. You could quantify its feats based on the weapons it's tanked and the damage it's withstood, but it doesn't really have any special abilities as opposed to Lehman Russ's armor, which is able to freeze enemies around it, or the Khan's armor, the Penelope of Wildfire, which is able to enhance his reflexes and speed. So I would love to do a video on that in the future. Honestly, I was going to include armor in here and just do it like a Primarch gear tier list, but I was like, that's gonna take me 5 hours to do, and I'm on a time little schedule right here because I'm leaving to go home back to the farm for 3 weeks. This is the last video I'm going to be making. I've already done 3 in the past 4 days, and let me tell you, my brain is so cooked, I'm seeing Legos on screen right now. What does that mean? You tell me. So those are Perturabo's weapons. The Logos, not really a weapon, but also a weapon at the same time. Tony Stark mode. Forge Breaker, it's heavily modified. Its damage output is increased with the elegance of the weapon being stripped away. It's pretty standard Primarch tier. The top of it right now, but it will probably be replaced later in the video. The Logos is incredibly tanky and able to deal damage that was able to wound Demon Primarch Angron. So, I think those are all pretty solidly ranked. Now we turn to the Khan. So the Khan has 3 weapons. He has the White Tiger Dao, the Tolwar, and the Storm's Voice, which is an Archaeotech pistol. And you guys know how I feel about the Archaeotech pistols. Honestly, screw it. Let's do all of the pistols right now. So that's Storm's Voice, that's the Archaeotech pistol from Lorgar, that's Spite's Furnace. Well, I guess that's a plasma gun. Let's do all the pistols right now just to avoid scaling them later. So we have Wrath and Justice. We have the Hydra Spite, Archaeotech pistol. It's literally, there's no title for Lorgar's pistol. We just know it's an Archaeotech pistol. I'm not kidding. Furnace's Heat. It's kind of like a plasma gun. We'll include that one. What else? Spite's Furnace, and Storm's Voice, obviously. Oh, Scorn Splitter. So all of these weapons, we just don't really see Archaeotech pistols in action, especially the ones that are Primarchs. They just don't have explicit lore feats of... I mean, they do have explicit lore feats of killing entities, but not entities as powerful as the Primarch. So no equivalent or relative feats to show that they are that powerful weapons. We know they are advanced, but I don't think they're reality bending, and I don't think they're killing Primarch tier opponents. So I'm going to place all the Archaeotech pistols in the empowered tier. I know I'm saving so much time. I don't know how to really put one over the other, so we're going to... Oh, the Infernus. The Infernus is... I think the Infernus actually has a quantifiable feat, too. I'm going to save that one for later, because I actually think it does have a feat. Spite's Furnace, we're going to put in here. What else? Archaeotech... The random Lorgar Archaeotech pistol. I think the Archaeotech pistol is probably scaled above the Plasma one, so we're going to put the Plasma ones back here. The Archaeotech's ahead. So where's another one? Hydra's Spite, that's another Plasma. Wrath and Justice is 2 Archaeotech pistols, so we'll put that one ahead of all of them. What else? What else? We'll save the Bolters for later so we can just kind of bash them and why the Primarchs even brought them in the first place, because they're silly. We'll save the Infernus for later as well. I think that's all of them. I'll do Scorn Splitter by itself and Voice of Terror by itself. Yeah, okay. So, Wrath and Justice, Arma Luminous, Storm's Voice, the Archaeotech pistol, Hydra Spite, Fusel, Antigonus, and Spite's Furnace all go in the empowering tier. They're all enhanced or mastercrafted Archaeotech or Plasma pistols, but we just don't see them take down really powerful enemies. So they probably scale below Primarch enemies unless you're just point blank just doming them 40 times in a row. That would probably wound or kill a Primarch. But if they're probably going to tank at least a handful of these shots before it really makes an impact. So I'm going to leave them in the empowering tier. If you guys want to argue with me over that, please do so. But from my research, I didn't see a single feat that supported them being vastly over any of this stuff, like the Fireblade or Wolfblade, or even with getting into Primarch tier. There's even an argument that you could put the plasma guns in standard, like the top of standard, but I don't want to do it that tough or that wrong, you know what I mean? Because most of these descriptions, it's a superior plasma pistol. That's the description. It's a superior plasma pistol, or a vastly superior plasma pistol. Great description, Games Workshop. You really get your money in with these writers. Yeah, but I feel like that means it's over standard, but I don't think it's over Primarch. So the plasma pistols easily explained. Archaeotechs are, some of them have like atomic weaponry or munitions, and they take the energy from the atmosphere and shoot it out. Like Arcan Land's Archaeotech pistol was vaporizing stuff, but yet again, we don't see it against high-level opponents, so I just can't justify putting it any higher than that. But now that we've done a lot of weapons simultaneously, let's get to the White Tiger Dao. So the White Tiger Dao is Jagatai Khan's main weapon, and it has a good amount of feats. It was able to destroy a good portion of Mortarion's armor. It was able to cut through it. It was able to take out Demon Primarch Mortarion. It was able to banish him straight up, cut him right across the dome. But those are... It also has, I think it also has the ability to keep up with Jagatai Khan's speed. It's stated to be the fastest blade in the Imperium, but I think that's more of a effect of Jagatai Khan being, you know, the fastest Primarch. So I'm going to put this one in the middle between Forgebreaker and the Lion's Sword. I think Forgebreaker, actually, since it straight up decapitated Mortarion as a Demon Primarch. Okay, I'm going to put it at the top of Primarch tier. Also because it's stated to be the fastest blade, which may be just a side effect of Jagatai Khan being the fastest Primarch. But I'm just going to leave it here for right now. Okay, then we have the Tulwar. This is like, I don't think there's anything really special about this sword, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's Jagatai Khan's special Tulwar, but it's shattered by a demon. And greater demons are kind of like the baseline for empowering. I'm going to leave it at the top of standard, or you can maybe argue the back of empowering, but it does deal some damage to the greater demon of Slaanesh, but it's shattered. It gets straight up shattered by it, and then the Khan has to choke the greater demon out in the book, The Path of Heaven. So I'm going to leave it in the empowering. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm being real cynical, you could argue standard. I'm going to leave it in empowering because it is a Primarch weapon. It's a Primarch Tulwar, which means there's got to be something special or fancy going about it. But it was shattered by a greater demon, so you could argue standard. I'm going to leave it in empowering, giving it the benefit of the doubt, but not that strong of a weapon. So Jagatai Khan does not really come out with the greatest arsenal, but he doesn't need an arsenal, right, guys? He's just that guy. All right, Leman Russ. Leman Russ has a shit ton of weapons, and right off the bat, we have Krakenmaw. So Krakenmaw, it's a weird weapon, guys, because this is actually a chainsword. But no art across 40k actually shows it as it's supposed to be, a chainsword. It's always shown as a blade like this, with the little teeth coming out here. It's always described as actually having Kraken teeth, which is incorrect. It is a chainsword, and this is the closest I could find that kind of looked like it, even though it really doesn't. But yeah, honestly, I don't think I brought this up, but some of these freaking weapons have no art. Like, this is just a random Archaeotech pistol I found online. And I was like, okay, I mean, Lorgar's doesn't even have a title. I might as well just give it a random art. And then we have some minis for the Primarch. So, like, some of these art is just completely fictional. So, don't bash me in the comments. So, this is not technically Krakenmaw, but it's the closest I could find. So, what do we know about the legendary Krakenmaw? So Krakenmaw only appears in the very beginning of the Great Crusade because it is destroyed by Angron during the Night of the Wolf in the book Betrayer. So the only time it really ever appears is in two books, The Great Wolf and Betrayer, like I just said. And what we see from it, it's able to cut through lesser enemies, but it's easily disarmed by Angron and then shattered. It also, I think, damaged a little bit of the Lion's armor, but that's about it. I'm just going to leave it in the empowering tier. It's also just a normal chainsword. I'm going to put it below the Wolf Blade because the Wolf Blade just has more feats. All we see Krakenmaw really do is cut through, you know, lower tier enemies, and then it kind of damaged the Lion's armor, but then it's easily destroyed by Angron, showing that it's not that durable. Mjolnir. I did not say that right. I think it's called the Sword of Baal Knight too. So that's an easier word for me to say. Mjolnir. Mjolnir. Is that how you say that? Oh boy, I'm exposing myself. Okay, Mjolnir is a very weird weapon. It's kind of only seen in the book Wolfgang. That's about it. But it has an obscene feat, guys. An obscene feat from this random Warhammer 40k post on the internet called 500 Facts for 500 Stores. Please go Google it right now. In that weird blog post, it states as one of the facts, it's like Leman Russ once jumped from a large building and cut off the head of a warlord titan in one swing. And I read that, I was like, what? What? You're kidding. One swing? It was like Marvel. It was like he was a Marvel character. He jumped from a building and just cut the thing's head straight off. So if you're one-shotting a warlord titan with this sword, it's above Primarch. That is beyond Primarch easily. I don't know if it's above. Honestly, it might be above fealty. Like that's a warlord titan is pretty damn strong and has a lot of void shielding that you're gonna have to cut through, and you're cutting through the metal of a warlord titan. One of the strongest machines in the Imperium. I would argue, I don't know if that's above a Demon Primarch feat, but I'm going to say it's above fealty, to be honest. But that he also cut through Demon Primarch Angron. Well, let's go in a little bit more of its feats. No diffs Terminators in the book The Wolf King. It's stated to be Dark Age of Technology weaponry. But that's a theory. I don't know if it's clearly stated that it is that. I'm going to put it in the back here because these guys were able to damage Demon Primarch Angron, which I would say is a better feat than a Warlord Titan. But still, very impressive from this random weapon that Leman Russ has. And then we get to Hell's Winter, which is, it's never ever used across the setting. I'm not going to lie. Unless I'm wrong, please correct me yet again if I'm wrong. I don't think Leman Russ ever uses this weapon excessively throughout the Great Crusade, the Heresy, or anything beyond that. I'm going to put it in Empowering because it's simply a Primarch weapon, and it's probably above the Tolwar, but I don't know if it's above all these pistols, because we just don't know explicitly what powers it has, if it has any. It's made of Kraken Maw teeth, which the Mjolnir sword is also made of, but it's not stated to be Dark Age of Technology weaponry. So I don't know if it's relative to this, which would be a very big reach. I think that would get a lot of people mad if I said Hell's Winter is relative to Mjolnir because of the Kraken teeth. So I can't exactly say that. And since it has no feats, I'm just going to leave it in Empowering. It could be anywhere in the Empowering tier. It could be over the Archaeotex. It could be up here. It could be... Nah, I'm just going to leave it back here. Because this thing gets shattered by a demon, so it could be in Standard. I think it's just... I don't know. It's a weird weapon. It's one of those Primarch weapons that they only use once, or it's mentioned once and never seen ever again. Okay, Scorn Splitter is next. And Scorn Splitter is a combi bolter given to Leman Russ by one of his fellow Primarchs. That's all we really know about it. Blows up a Space Marine in the book 1,000 Suns. It's just a normal gun. I'm going to put it in Standard. It's probably weaker than a Volkite Charger, so I'm just going to put it in Standard. It's just literally an ornate combi bolter. Okay, the Dionysian Spear. The Dionysian Spear is a fucking universal weapon. I think it's above everything so far. This thing is so broken, guys. So I recently did a video, Leman Russ versus Jekatai Khan. And when I was researching that, I went really in depth on the book Wolfsbane, which has the fight Post-Molech Horus versus Leman Russ. And when I read that excerpt, I was like, holy shit, how did I not know this? The Dionysian Spear has multiple capabilities. First off, it can nerf chaos and corruption around it. It's actively weakening Post-Molech Horus's power just by being near him. It's literally stated that his aura... Which is, okay, now I'm not saying like his shut up. Don't take it that way. He's not aura farming. But his chaos aura, the power of his corruption to chaos, was being nullified by the Dionysian Spear simply by being near him. But that's not all, folks. This spear might even be sentient and be able to throw itself at enemies. I'm reading a quote right here. The spear thrummed with palpable delight at being used. Its point shivered through gaps in Horus's defense. Does that not read like it's sentient? It's able to shiver through gaps in Horus's armor or defense? That sounds sentient to me. And that's not all, people. It's also able to cast lightning. When the spear, let me read this. Sheets of lightning trailed its blade as it swept around his head to slash at his brother. It's literally summoning lightning where it strikes. And finally, when it finally pierces Horus Lupercal in the side, it drains all of the chaos corruption from him. And remind you folks, this is after Horus went into the warp gate and gathered the power of all four chaos gods, kind of relative to the Emperor, or in the same situation as the Emperor. It's an obscenely powerful anti-chaos weapon, and I was talking to some of the guys in the Discord the other day. What if this spear was given to another Primarch in, say, like Sanguinius, when he fought Horus? Do you think this weapon would have changed the tide? I honestly think so. End the death Sanguinius with the Dionysian spear may beat Horus Lupercal while he's holding back, trying to convince Sanguinius to fall to chaos. I'm throwing my hands up. That may possibly be the case, fellas. It's insane. So Dionysian Spear, easily the top of the universal tier. It's a broken weapon, probably one of the strongest weapons in 40k, period. That's all I got to say about it. And that's all Leman Russ's weapons? Oh, that was fast. Okay. So he has a fucking shit ton of good weapons. Above, beyond Primarch, Universal. Then he's got some Okay, I guess that kind of tracks. Yeah, but if you have the Dionysian Spear, you're cooking. You're automatically a top 10 Primarch with that weapon. Okay, so now we get to Rogel Dorn, my favorite autistic king, who has Storm's Teeth, which is a very strange weapon, which we're about to get to with this stuff right here. But Storm's Teeth is a chainsword. It seems like a pretty strong chainsword. The feats it has, it was able to cut through massive orcs like butter. No diffs Terminators, which is not that impressive. But probably the most impressive feat it has, which is decapitating and bisecting Alfarius's hands. So he Count Dooku's him with this weapon. So I feel like that easily puts it in the Primarch tier. Maybe I would say at the top of Primarch tier, at least for right now. I mean, it was able to easily cut through Alfarius's armor and then behead him. What more do you need to say? Praetorian of Dorn is the only time, though. I think he actually uses it in the Solar War to fuck up. No, he doesn't. Honestly, it's crazy. I think this is the only time Perturabo, or oh my god, I said Perturabo. Rogel Dorn ever uses Storm's Teeth, guys. I really think so, which is quite frankly insane. Because, well, we're about to talk about this stuff in a second, so I don't need to get to that. But this is like his weapon, and he only uses it once throughout the Siege of Terra. What the hell? Okay, the Voice of Terra is a ornate Custodes-made bolter given to Rogel Dorn upon being made Praetorian of Terra. That's all we really know about it. In Praetorian of Dorn, it easily kills some Space Marines, but that's not exactly the most significant feat. I'm going to put it in standard, probably above Firebrand and Scorn Splitter because it was made by the Custodians, so that implies it's mastercrafted in some way, but it's most likely a standard weapon. It sucks that all the guns are kind of just lower tier, but at the end of the day, they're guns, you know? And like I said twice already in this video, Games Workshop does not want you to shoot someone because it's not cinematic. Come on. Think Michael Bay, fellas. Think Michael Bay. Okay, we have the Soul Spear next. So that is from the Soul Drinker's Ambius. It is a relic from Rogel Dorn. He never uses it throughout his career from the Great Crusade and the Heresy. He never uses it once, but I factored it in because it's from his inventory and a relic from that time period. And just because he never explicitly used it doesn't mean it's not his. So, what do we know about Soul Spear? Well, we know it can discharge an energy blast that is comparable to a black hole. It's pretty damn powerful, but since we don't explicitly ever see Rogel Dorn use it, but I guess that shouldn't be really factored into it. Sorry, I'm having a debate with myself. I'm going to put in the Primarch tier. Comparable to a miniature black hole is very impressive. And I think it was used to take down a greater demon. I'm going to leave it at the back of Primarch tier. We just don't see it ever used against a Primarch, so it's hard to quantify it above that. But creating a miniature black hole is very impressive. I'm going to leave it at the back of Primarch tier. Yeah, I don't know if it really compares to anything else. Yeah, it's definitely above this, and it's probably above all the Archaeotech pistols, but I would say that Soul Spear is probably in the Primarch tier. Okay, so now these weapons, guys, are hilarious. These are hilarious. Dorn fights Fulgrim, Demon Primarch Fulgrim, in the book Saturine. And he doesn't use any of the weapons he's known for. So he doesn't come out with Storm's Teeth or the Voice of Terror. He comes out with this random power sword and this random shield that are never, ever brought up again. They don't even have names. They're just addressed as a shield and a power sword. So they could be just a standard piece of gear, or they could be this Emperor tier relic we have no idea exist. But that's regardless of the point, because both of these items have insane feats against Demon Primarchs. So, first off, the sword is able to harm Demon Primarch Angron, impales him, blocks his attacks, and is able to sever his hand outright. So, right off the bat, I think that easily places it in beyond Primarch tier, okay? As a shield. Okay, his shield is able to attack. Okay, so now his shield. So his shield is able to tank attacks from the Layer Blade, send Fulgrim reeling, eventually breaks, but after extreme amount of attacks, and is able to cave in Fulgrim's ribs when Dorn is kind of pushing him with it. I think that's a at least Primarch level, okay? But the sword itself, it never breaks, it never shatters, and it's able to trade blows of Fulgrim's weapons that are enhanced by Demon Primarch's strength, and it's able to straight up sever his hand. I think that's at least at the back of Beyond Primarch tier, possibly above Mjolnir, which is, I know, like, what are we doing, Fallen Cow? But that's it. The feats this random sword have in the book Saturn make no sense, guys. It's quite hilarious. But with these feats, I think that is a Beyond Primarch level weapon. This one, I think, is Primarch level because it takes several hits from a Demon Primarch before eventually breaking. I'm going to put it at the top of Primarch. Oh my god, that's a crazy take. But come on, it breaks Fulgrim's ribs, okay? It's able to take several hits from the Layer Blade before finally breaking. I think it's top of Primarch, guys. I'm not going to lie. Might be a very silly take from your Fallen Cow, but the feats are feats, guys. Facts are facts. I can't dispute that. That whole fight honestly doesn't really make sense in context, because how is Demon Primarch Fulgrim not using his psychic powers that he used in the Reflection Cracked to immediately destroy this version of Dorn? I don't know. And then Dorn is using some unnamed power sword and shield to absolutely wipe the floor with Fulgrim. Just doesn't make a lot of sense, folks. It's not making a lot of sense, but hey, that's GW for you. So, the random Fulgrim fight sword comes in Beyond Primarch because it absolutely damages a Demon Primarch. Yeah, and the shield is able to tank several hits from a Demon Primarch before eventually breaking. So, you can honestly argue Beyond Primarch for the Fulgrim fight shield, but that's a little too much glazing for the autistic lad. Okay, Gunrad Gurs is next. Gunrad Gurs, who has mercy and forgiveness. They are only described as Artificer Lightning Claws. That's about it. They're master-crafted, if I didn't include that. They're master-crafted, but that's all we know. But these weapons have insane feats. They have insane feats for something that is not described as being crafted by the Emperor. So, first off, it deflects the Gladys Incandor, which is Guilliman's sword we're about to talk about later. It blocks the Lion Sword, which we talked about earlier. It's able to scrap through Guilliman's shield, which is not included on this list because it's just a standard weapon. I probably should have included it now in hindsight, but alas, I didn't. It's able to pierce the lion's armor and neck. It goes straight through the lion's neck in the book, The Unremembered Empire. And it's able to tear through Guilliman's armor as well. So it's able to penetrate Primarch armor quite easily. I'm going to put it at the top of Primarch tier, honestly. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I'm not going to lie. But if a weapon is able to easily tear through master-crafted Primarch armor and wound them quite severely, consistently, I'm going to leave it in the Primarch tier. I think that makes sense. It's weird. It's a weird case because it's not described as having a weird dark age of technology origins, being crafted by the Emperor, anything else that makes it different from, say, I don't know, Minjalnar, which is Dark Age of Technology, or Fealty, which is found in the Forest Walk realm, or the Lair Blade, which empowers its user. It's just a simple lightning claw. That's all it's ever described as, but it's still able to cut through Primarch armor like butter. So there's got to be something special about it, but it's never clearly stated, and still it kicks fucking ass. It damages the Primarchs considerably. So I'm going to leave it at the top of Primarch tier. It could also be Conrad Kurz just being a menace and being one of the stronger Primarchs in the setting, but Mercy and Forgiveness has the feats to back up being placed in the Primarch tier. Now we come to the Flaying Knife, which I thought was kind of a funny one to include. He just uses it to torture Vulcan, a Vulcan who is naked and insane. I'm going to put it in the Cow's Corral. It's just kind of a funny addition on this list. It damages a naked Vulcan in the book Vulcan Lives. That's all it kind of does. And you could argue, but Cow, hurting a Primarch skin's got to be... Nah, not really. I mean, Vulcan, dies to an Eldar shuriken gun later in Unremembered Empire. So I wouldn't say kind of torturing a naked Primarch is not that good of a feat. Next, we have the beautiful, the majestic, the amazing Hawkboy Sanguinius, starting with the Blade Encarmine. So the Blade Encarmine is an ornate power sword that was wielded by Sanguinius throughout the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy. It has some truly insane feats, like easily impaling actually, a Keeper of Secrets, which is a greater demon of Slaanesh. It's able to destroy rhinos and terminators quite easily as well. And during this fight with Horus Lupercal in the End to Death Part 2, he breaks Horus's shielding and armor and then even guts the War Master. Now granted, the War Master was holding back, but still those feats are absolutely insane, and I would put it in Beyond Primarch tier. Maybe below the Lair Blade, because still buffing a Primarch is simply insane. But the Blade Encarmine being able to wound and gut Horus Lupercal at the very, very height of his power, even though he was holding back, is quite impressive. Okay, the Spear of Telesto this is an easy one. Oh my god. It's definitely the top of Beyond Primarch. I don't think it's universal, but it's broken, guys. Let's dive into this a little bit more. So the Spear of Telesto was a weapon once again wielded by Sanguinius throughout the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, and it functioned as both a weapon that shot out energy blasts and as a spear, because it is, a spear. So first off, the spear emits a highly powerful energy blast that vaporizes anyone without Sanguinius's blood. He uses this to annihilate a Warlord Titan. He damages Demon Primarch Angron with this beam, and is able to cut down a great number of demons and Death Guard Space Marines with the power of the Beam of Telesto. But remember folks, it's also a spear, and with it he almost straight up decapitates Demon Primarch Angron when he hurls it at his face. Overall, it's damaging Demon Primarchs, Greater Demons, even Warlord Titans. Easily sits at the top of the Beyond Primarch tier as one of the strongest weapons in all of 40k. Yeah. I mean, it also melts adamantium, I think, in the book Ruinstorm, which is also very impressive. It's easily a Beyond Primarch weapon. So now we reach the Infernus, and this is also a really weird weapon. So it's only ever used once in Echoes of Eternity, and Sanguinius uses it to vaporize Demon Primarch Angron's arm with one shot. That's it. He shoots it and vaporizes a Demon Primarch's arm with one shot. That alone places it in the above Primarch tier, or Beyond Primarch tier. I think I'm gonna put it at the back because but also I mean it's a one-shotter. Like, imagine you shot Angron's face off. Honestly, that's insane. I'm gonna put it right here. Goes in the Beyond Primarch tier ahead of the Logos, because it literally one shot arm of a demon Primarch off. Come on, that's pretty impressive. This might be the only gun on the list that has a quantifiable feat against a strong opponent. The rest of these just don't have anything, but this one shots demon Primarch Angron's arm off. That's crazy. That's from Echoes of Eternity, folks. If you guys want to dispute me, go read Echoes of Eternity. It's an insane fight. First off, Sanguinius versus Angron, but Infernus is able to shoot off Angron's arm. So it goes and beyond Primarch. So now we come to the Moon Silver Blade, which is the backup blade forged from the same alloy as the Phalanx, gifted by Dorn to our magnificent Hawkboy. Don't know much about it. I couldn't even find a piece of art for it, so that it shows that it's really not that known of a weapon. I honestly think that might be the blade in Carmine, but I couldn't find anything for the Moon Silver Blade. I'm not going to lie. I thought that maybe it would be on the cover of Ruinstorm, but if you really zoom in here, that's still the blade in Carmine. Where do we see the Moon Silver Blade? It's only ever seen in the Angel Rises, Sanguinius, and the Horus Heresy, and it's stated to be very effective against demons. It's very limited on page use, and that's all we see. That's all we see. Like I said, it's very limited throughout the Heresy, never really used, and it's like, why would you use it? You have the blade in Carmine. I'm gonna put it in the empowered tier next to Hell's Winter. I'll put it over Hell Winter because it actually is stated to be effective against demons, but not much outside of that. I don't know. But Sanguinius has quite the plethora of weapons here, guys. Look at this. 3 and beyond Primarch tier. Oh my god. God damn, I love Sanguinius. This is definitely not Sanguinius propaganda, guys. But, like, the feats are there. Like, I'm serious. Like, that no diffs a Demon Primarch's arm. This one is able to cut through Horus Lubrical at the very height of his power, even though he is holding back. And the Spear of Telesto almost one-shots Demon Primarch Angron when he chucks it at him. Like, come on. These are some insane weapons. So now we come to Ferrus Manus, the Headless Wonder, as I like to call him. And we start with Forgebreaker, which is relative to Perturabo's Forgebreaker, but also weaker. It's stated when Perturabo gets it that he strips all the elegance from the weapon, making it even more destructively powerful. So, Perturabo's is, right off the bat, just simply stronger than Ferrus Manus's, but it's still a Primarch tier weapon with feats like shattering a Titan's arm, exploding Space Marines on contact, flipping over rhinos, pasteurizing Emperor's Children Space Marines, and is able to shatter Demon Primarch Angron's armor in the book Slaves of Darkness, courtesy of Perturabo. So we're giving Count Ferrus Manus's Forgebreaker some of the feats, but it's only fair because, you know, he dies 5 books into the series. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Then we come to the Medusan Carapace. We know next to nothing about this. It's only ever mentioned in Horus Heresy Book 2 Massacre, and it seems like a significantly empowered version of a Space Marines Carapace. So I'm just going to put it in the empowered tier. I'm just going to put it behind Hellwinter because it seems just like more of a utility device. We see some plasma guns, bolter guns with some arms. No significant feats, but it is a Primarch piece of gear, significantly upgraded by the blacksmith. So I'm just going to put it in the empowered tier. Could argue standard too, but I'm not going to be that mean to the Ferrus Manus fans. There's only 3 of them. Might as well be nice to them. They're probably having a bad day. All right, so now we come to Angron, who has apparently 6 variations of chain axes. Apparently, yeah, I mean, like, the dude's like, you know what? I lost the last one. Can you get me 10 more, please? Are you really gonna need? Yeah, I go through them like paper. Whoever's selling these, Mr. Angron here, these chain axes, he needs to get some goddamn insurance because they're not very well made. Come on. All right, Gorechild and Gorefather are the first ones. I kind of counted them together, and Angron uses them briefly during the end of the Great Crusade and the beginning of the Horus Heresy before they are shattered and broken. Cold Karn takes one up. He takes up Gorechild, and then he uses it later to fight Drachnia, and actually is able to wound the blade itself, which is an insane feat because Drachnia would be in the universal tier easily. It's one of the strongest weapons in all of 40k. But here's the big but here. Here's the caveat to that. That is probably because of Khorne corruption. And since these weapons we're looking at are not corrupted by Khorne at this moment, I feel like you can't really use that feat during these rankings. And I know Crabzilla is like, come on, Cal, I went through all this work to find that. I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm not going to factor that specific one in. Still, these two blades, Gorechild and Gorefather, are able to break through various different types of vehicles throughout the books: the Butcher's Nails, Black Crusade, Traitor's Hate, the Red Path, and Shroud of Night. He's also able to shatter a adamantium from a knight and bring it down, but that's all we really see from it. I don't know. I'm just going to put it in the Primarch tier. I originally had it in the Beyond Primarch tier, but I was really thinking long and hard on it, and I just don't think it does have the feat of fighting Drachnia, but that's what I feel like that may be because of Chaos corruption or Khorne corruption. I don't know if that's straight up just the weapon design in its base or normal form. So I'm going to leave it in Primarch tier. Where in Primarch tier is the question, though? It's probably like right around here. I'm gonna put it in the because the Lion's Sword also doesn't have the greatest durability. I'm gonna leave it right here in the Primarch tier. Yeah, I think its feats are pretty effective, and it seems like Angron does reap a vicious tally of feats with these weapons, but I don't know if it's going in a Beyond Primarch like I originally thought. Feel free to argue with me in the comments, because I feel like Khorne corruption definitely had something to do with that, and if it didn't, please correct me in the comments, because I would love to place Gorechild and Gorefather, who have some lovely art. Look at that Angron, he's just yelling at you. He's like, buy more Jane Axes, buy more Jane Axes. I mean, I'd love to place him higher, but I don't know. I just feel like Khorne corruption kind of changes the way these blades function. Okay, now we come to Chain Axe number 2, Widowmaker. He uses this weapon during the fight against Leman Russ in the book Betrayer during the Night of the Wolf. Leman Russ breaks it relatively easy, it seems like. It's less durable than Kraken Maw because it's destroyed first in Leman Russ and Angron's fight. So it's probably like right here. It's empowering. It's less powerful than Kraken Maw. Is destroyed. Doesn't seem to have the greatest durability. I think that's a pretty clear-cut use. So, like you've probably noticed, some of these Primarch weapons they use like once or twice. So this list is actually not going to take me that long because they have one or two feats, and you just look at it, you quantify it, and you just slot it in. So honestly, I'm kind of going through this, and I'm really impressed with myself. How many we have? 14, 28. We have 32 left. Holy shit, we still have so many left. I saw like two rows and 4 left. I was like, whoa, I'm going through this really fast. Nope. I gaslit myself. Son of a gun. Yeah, but I think that one's an easy empowered tier. Okay, so Brazen Tooth is next. We only ever see this mentioned. I looked it up, guys. We only ever see it mentioned in Battle for the Abyss in 3 paragraphs. And in those 3 paragraphs, it stated it was able to take a Xenos' head and scared some soldiers into compliance. It's heavy, it's unbalanced, and it doesn't seem especially lethal against higher tier opponents because, once again, we never see it used against higher tier opponents. But a Space Marine is able to wield it. I'm going to put it at the very back of the empowering tier. Maybe over the Towar and over the Medusan Garpies. Like, the feats it has are kind of anti-feats, I'm not gonna lie. If a Space Marine is able to wield this weapon, I don't know if that significantly shows it to be that strong. I'm gonna put it in the back here. I don't know. I'm gonna put it back here. Maybe even back here. It doesn't seem like it's that strong, guys. Like, any guy could use this weapon and kill a Xenos with it. It doesn't seem like it's that powerful. I'm going to leave it back here at the very back of the empowering tier. Damn, there's a lot of empowering. Honestly, I think the tier list is pretty accurate so far. I think this is the only one I'm really still pondering, and maybe I placed the Infernus pistol a little too high, but I think the rest are pretty straightforward. Blades of the Phoenician are also very debatable, but like I said, it's if there's a Crone Sword in there, guys, hand in hand with the Lair Blade, Fire Blade, and a unknown acidic Slaneshi Blade, come on, those 4 weapons are tearing through anything. Maybe not the Dionysian Spear, though, that's for sure. We still have 3 Angron weapons. Wow, this dude, like, loves to shop. The Black Blades. The Black Blade is Angron's weapon after he ascends to demonhood. It eventually gets broken by Hyperion during the Emperor's Gift. What feats do we see from it? It's able to one-shot Grey Knight Terminators. It parries the Moon Silver Blade. Oh, shoot, where did this come from? Oh, right here. It's able to parry the Moon Silver Blade in Echoes of... Yeah, not being able to straight up break the Moon Silver Blade is a massive... But is that actually a massive upscale to the Moon Silver Blade? Oh, you know what? I think that is. Let's finish the Black Blade and then we'll scale that to that, because that's kind of crazy. He's also able to kill dozens of Space Marines with a single swipe, killing so many World Eaters and Blood Angels during the book Echoes of Eternity. He's able to impale Sanguinius with it, and after he is banished, it's shown that the Black Blade was actively killing Sanguinius during the final 3 books in the series, The End and Death Part 1 and Part 2, because, you know, he's dead in Part 3. Rest in peace. So we know the Black Blade's pretty effective against Primarchs. I'm going to put it beyond Primarch tier. Now this is where it gets tricky. So it's able to easily kill Space Marines, Terminators, and then it's able to impale a Primarch relatively easy, cutting straight through their armor. It also grows stronger by absorbing weapons and souls. And that's actually very interesting. So I'm gonna, if it has like a powerful amp, it seems, from souls, you could say it's relative to the Lair Blade. But then the problem is, where does the Moon Silver Blade go? If it's being parried by this, oh man, I think that's Primarch tier at least. I'm gonna say, oh my god. This is an insane relative upscale just because it can parry the Black Blade, which is a beyond Primarch level weapon. I'm gonna say, oh man, this is tough. This is where the autism kind of hits the wall. I'm gonna say it's right here, because the Mercy and Forgiveness is easily cutting through Primarch armor, but the Black Blade is too, and it's vastly empowered. And the Moon Silver Blade's able to parry it. Oh my god, is this gonna be the top of the Primarch tier? But but this was able to parry Demon Primarch Fulgrim Strike, but eventually broke. This was able to parry Silence. Also Silence after being corrupted, so this variation of Silence. Wow, I am really thinking right here. We could change a lot of stuff around right now. It's definitely beyond Primarch tier, though. That's for sure. But now we have to really think about the Moon Silver Blade and if it's upscaled or we should just leave it down and empowered. We just don't know anything about it, man. And that's like the worst part about these. It's like the Primarchs in general. It's like I said, the weapons they just use once or twice, or they're just mentioned randomly throughout 40k fiction, and you just never see them again. I don't know. But if it's able to parry the Black Blade, which is cutting through Sanguinius easily, that implies that it's at least slightly durable enough to tank it. I'm going to leave it at the top of Primarch. Oh my god. I'm not going to say, because we don't see it cut Angron, but if it's able to block Demon Primarch Angron's Black Blade, We'll leave it at the top Primarch. That's crazy. We might want to move the White Tiger Dow Blade up too, because it's able to tank Corrupted Silence. We'll figure that one out later. But I think this is pretty straightforward thus far. Some of these weapons are getting scaled higher, like you just saw, because of the relative scaling. So some weapons are honestly just going to get shafted because they don't have enough feats to quantify them going higher. And then you have weapons like the Blade Encarmine, the Spear of Telesto, and now the Moon Silverblade getting moved up simply because Sanguinius fought better opponents. It's the harsh reality of power scaling in 40k. I apologize, my beautiful herd. Okay, I'm totally gonna butcher this next one. Samniris. Did not say that right. So this is a bound Slaaneshi demon, and it's Angron's new favorite weapon after the Black Blade was broke. Oh, the Black Blade was broken by a Psyker. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh my god, does that mean it's not even beyond Primarch tier? How strong are our Grey Knights, man? That's really the question here. It's, oh man, one Grey Knight takes it out. Hyperion straight up destroys it. Oh man, but this is a tough one. This is a tough one. If a Psyker can easily, not easily, but he was able to straight up destroy it, it's got to be not that high. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know. Because this was able to take out his arm with one shot too. I'm moving this down. This is not that impressive now. Oh my god, you just watched me have a fucking thought train go on here. Oh man, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it above the logos. I think. That's crazy that the Infernus pistol scales higher than the Black Blade. But it makes sense. I mean, the Infernus one-shot Angron's arm off. The Black Blade penetrated Sanguinius' body. That's quite the sexual statement. But it didn't, like, one-shot him. He was still able to grab the butcher's nails out of Angron's head and pull them out. And it was destroyed by Hyperion. Yeah, I think that's a fair placement. I still think it's really strong, though. But that means the Moon Silverblade's going down. If it's able to parry that, but it's... I'm going to put it down here, maybe. Or... I'm going to put it right here. The Moon Silverblade above Gorechild and Gorefather? Oh, I don't know, man. Yeah? I mean, parrying the Black Blade... This is like an insane thought process here. I'm going to leave it there for right now. We can always come back. So now we come to Samniris. I did not say that right, but I'm just going to go with it. We could also call it the Black Rod. Let's just call it the Black Rod. So the Black Rod is a bound Slaaneshi demon that Angron literally took a Black Rod to and smashed it so many times that it turned into this shape and the demon was absorbed into it. So it has the power of a Slaaneshi Greater demon inside of it. What feats does it have? It's able to bisect marines and demons, burn souls, and skewer gunships. We don't really see much else from it from the Angron the Red Angel and Arc of Omens. I'm just going to put it in... Theoretically, Demon Primarch weapons should all be beyond Primarch level. But I don't know, guys. Yeah, it's got to be beyond Primarch. But I think it's at the back. That's crazy. The Fulgrim Fight Sword is scaling this high. What the hell? That's ridiculous, man. What? I love Saturn, but that fight just doesn't make any sense. It blows everything out of the water. Like, how is this random power sword able to it wounds Fulgrim so many times, man. It even cuts his hand off. Oh my god. And this one shots a Warlord Titan in some random community post. What the hell, man? I mean, we just don't have enough feats to really quantify this, but it's got to be really strong because it's a Demon Primarch weapon. Bound Greater Demon inside, Khorne empowered. Man, I don't know, honestly. Shit. Oh, Primarch level maybe? Maybe top of Primarch? Yeah, maybe top of Primarch, low key. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous, man. What the hell? What the hell? I need to make a video on the random Fulgrim fight sword and shield and how they're where their origins possibly could be, because this is just silly, guys. Okay, this is another debatable one. I don't know. It could go either way, the bottom or top of Primarch. I'm just gonna leave it in Primarch because I don't want to say like just because it's a demon Primarch weapon that it has to go in the beyond Primarch tier. I don't want to create that standard, so I'm gonna leave it in just the Primarch tier. And we come to Spine Grinder, which is Angron's chain axe. This axe he didn't even want. It was created by some random Mechanicum guy who gave it to him, and then Angron just killed him. It's stated that he doesn't even like it, but he has some feats with it, that's for sure. He one-shots a Sword Storm, a Shadow Storm tank. He slays Titans, which is stated, and he's able to mangle Belial from the Dark Angels and slaughters several Deathwing Terminators off-screen in Arc of Omens. I think that shows that it's definitely beyond Primarch level. It seems very, very powerful weapon. But where to put it? So it's definitely over Majalnar. I feel like I've said it so many different variations so far. Able to slay Titans puts it over that. Multiple Titans. See, that's just one. This is multiple. Silly. I'm quantifying it. Come on, guys. I'm quantifying it. This was able to... Honestly, is this over? Oh my god, is this over? Okay, let's think. I'm just realizing this. The Fulgrim Fight Sword is able to sever Fulgrim's hand off, and it cuts him several times. That's a Demon Primarch, and Fulgrim's Fight Sword, it's damaging him considerably. It seems like he's cutting through his armor and his warp-empowered skin like butter, okay? The Logos armor does kind of the same. Fealty does kind of the same. I'm going to leave it here. I don't want to say that. That's silly. That's too silly, guys. I'm going to put Spine Grinder. Is it over that, though? Yeah. It's got to be. It's got to be. Hopefully it's over that. I'm going to say Spine Grinder's over the Fulgrim Fight Sword. If it's slaying Titans really relatively easy, I'm going to say it's over Fealty, Logos. Seems to be more durable in the Black Blade. I'm going to leave it ahead of... No, because the Black Blade's empowered vastly by the souls. This is hard, guys. This is fucking hard. Man, yeah. So the Black Blade's empowered by a lot of souls, able to penetrate Sanguinius, leave him dying throughout the rest of the siege. I'm going to say Spine Grinders. I'm going to say it's right here. I'm going to leave it right here. I'm going to leave it back here. Yeah, I'm going to leave it back here because oh man, I don't know. It could go here because it's over Majalnar, but it doesn't have the feats of damaging a Demon Primarch. It could be over here or over here because you could make the statement that he's slain multiple Titans which scale above Demon Primarchs, and it could be over here because it has better durability feats than the Black Blade. But then you could also argue the Black Blade is heavily empowered by dozens of or millions of souls. You could state it's back here because these guys damage the Demon Primarch consistently, which is not portrayed by the Spine Grinder, which is only destroyed. I'm just gonna leave it here. What the fuck? What is a Fulgrim Fight Sword? What is this thing? What is this thing, guys? Someone look this up for me. I need to figure this out. It's got to be like the Emperor's nephew's sword he gave to him on his 12th birthday, and Dorn's like, "Hey, you using that over there?" Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's got to be one of the silliest things ever. Okay, 28 left. We just went on a rant about silliness for God knows how long. We have Guilliman's sword next, the Gladys Incandor. This weapon is seen chiefly throughout the Unremembered Empire, like the Imperium Secondus arc, and briefly in the Dark Imperium book where Guilliman fought Fulgrim. So what feats do we have from this? Breaks Kurz' armor and flesh in Unremembered Empire, cuts Demon Primarch Angron, and deflects the Blades of the Phoenician. So that's the Blades of the Phoenician without the Crone Sword, but still pretty damn impressive, I'm not gonna lie. It seems to just be a power sword, like an ornate power sword, so no specific abilities I'm going to put it in the Primarch tier. It's probably the top, honestly. Not over Mercy and Forgiveness, but damaging a Demon Primarch and Curse, I'm going to put it at the top. Oh, man, it might be over Mercy and Forgiveness. Well, son of a gun. I think it is. What the hell, man? Too bad it's gone. He left it on Fulgrim's ship. Yeah. Cutting up a Demon Primarch. It's got to be a damn good feat. Yeah, it's top of Primarch. Shit. Hand of Dominion is next. So the Hand of Dominion is the Power Glove of Rabute Guilliman. It's pretty damn strong, I'm not gonna lie. Punches through Terminators and tanks in Rise of the Primarch. It staggers Scarbrand, also in that book. It's able to send Magnus flying. Remember, a Demon Primarch Magnus. And it's able to break Lorgar's ribs in the book Betrayer. And finally, it snaps one of the blades of the Phoenician. That's a Demon Primarch's blade. I'm going to say it's an above Primarch tier, or beyond Primarch tier. I think that's a seriously impressive feat. But where? But where? Beyond Primarch's already so full of stuff. Okay, let's go through it. So it's able to punch and break Lorgar's ribs, okay? Staggers a greater demon, so it's definitely over these two tiers. Sends Magnus flying, so it has the feat of fucking up a Demon Primarch, so that puts it up here already. And it snaps one of the blades of the Phoenician. I'm not gonna say that just because this is this, that it'd be up here, because that would be silly. But it definitely is a mastercrafted power glove with some absurd feats. I mean, it sends Magnus flying, but it doesn't seem to actively wound Magnus, as opposed to the Fulgrim Fight Sword. Woo! What the fuck, guys? I'm gonna leave it here. Yeah, because these damage the Demon Primarchs, but this did too. Oh my god. Is the Gladys? Oh shit. Is the Gladys in Kandor in above and beyond Primarch tier? No. That's silly. It's just an ornate power sword. But so is the Fulgrim Fight Sword. Oh my god, man. I'm gonna leave the Gladys and Kandor in the Primarch tier. I don't think it... Dude, this thing is just... It's so silly. It's gotta be like one of the silliest things I've seen in my life. But... Dorn, damn, what the hell? I'm gonna leave this here. It tanks hits from a Demon Primarch. It wounds a Primarch. It's able to stagger one of the stronger, greater demons. And it sends Magnus the Red flying. I'm gonna leave it beyond Primarch tier. I think that's a fair motion. Oh, yeah. Okay. The Arburator is next. So the Arburator is a combi heavy bolter from Guilliman. The only feat we have from it is from the Horus Heresy Book 5 Tempest, where it cuts through a demonic horde. That's all it really does. I'm gonna say it's probably in the back of Empowering. Probably over the Toolwar. We'll say it's right here. Nah, we'll say it's right here. It's a gun. It's probably below because it's a bolter. Bolters are obviously weaker than Archaeotech pistols and plasma pistols that are all greatly enhanced. I'm gonna say it's the back of these ones. That makes sense. Okay, now we come to the Emperor's Sword, and this is another easy one. Come on, guys. This is an easy one. This is the creme de la creme, the best weapon as so far of all the Primarchs. So the Emperor's Sword, it's not as powerful as it would be while it's in the hands of Guilliman, because Guilliman is not a psyker. So in order to use the full power of the Emperor's Sword, you need to be a really strong psyker, like we see when the Emperor uses it to kill a vast horde of demons during the Master of Mankind in the Webway, when he unleashes a massive fire army magic thing that kills so many demons. Guilliman's never done this because he is not a psyker. But when Guilliman is possessed by the Emperor in Godblight, the Emperor's Sword is used to literally wound Nurgle's Garden and banish Mortarion in this same moment. It's insane, and I'm going to use that feat because that's the Emperor's Sword. It's the Emperor's Sword being used as it should be, you know, as a psyker should be using it. Guilliman's also used it to deflect Mortarion's psychic plague attacks. He's impaled Demon Primarch Magnus, though it doesn't seem to really affect Demon Primarch Magnus that much, because the blade is able to permanently kill greater demons, but when it impales Magnus, it doesn't seem to have that effect. Maybe because, like I said, Guilliman is not a psyker. So, although it's not at its full potential, I think the Emperor's Sword is a reality-altering weapon, one of the strongest weapons in all of 40k. And if the Emperor, or say another psyker, used the Emperor's Sword, it would be easily destroying possibly planets. It's an insane weapon. Okay, so the Emperor's Sword is universal. Oh my god. We're almost done, fellas. Ring the bells, ring the bells. So we have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 left. And now we have the Stink Daddy, Mortarion, and his trilogy of strange, shitty weapons. This is where it gets pretty goddamn hard, people. So we're starting with Silence before it was corrupted by Chaos and became stuffed with a little stinky Nurgle demon. So this is Silence during the Grey Crusade and the vast majority of the Horus Heresy. So what feats does it have? Seems to trade with the White Tiger Dowblade, so it would be relative to this. It cuts through Terminators and tanks. Not exactly the most impressive feats. I'm going to say it's relative to the White Tiger, but it's below it because, hear me out, I know this is, Mortarion fans are like, what? What are you saying, Cal? The White Tiger Dowblade is able to keep up with Jagatai Khan's speed. It's an ability of the sword, and it's said to be the fastest sword in all the Imperium. So, I would say since Silence has no specific ability or, I don't know, special power-up, it's below the White Tiger Dowblade. I don't know. If you have better feats from the Path of Heaven and the Buried Dagger, please shoot them my way. But that's all I ever saw from Silence, unfortunately. And then we come to Lantern. So the Lantern is a Dark Age of Technology weapon, I think created or repaired by the Emperor, and it's able to vaporize Xenos and Terminators, melt metal, but it has the unfortunate, very unfortunate downgrade of not being able to kill Typhus the Traveler after being infected with the Warp, the Destroyer Plague to be more specific, which is a huge downgrade. Like, this weapon I feel like is talked about so much by the community because it's so cool. It is a weapon from the Dark Age of Technology that can vaporize anything it touches. But like so many other guns on this list, it doesn't have the feats to back up the hype, and we do have a feat from it, and it can't kill Typhus the Traveler, who is, at the end of the day, only a Space Marine. I want to say it's at the very back of all this, which is such a sad thing to say, but from what we see with Arkan Land's Archaeotech pistol, it can one-shot Space Marines, even corrupted Space Marines like Typhus the Traveler. If the Lantern can't even do that, then it's got to be at the back of the empowering tier. I'm sorry. It probably is ahead of the Arburator. It's probably ahead of all plasma guns. Let's say that much, okay? Let's say it's below all the Archaeotechs, but above all the plasma guns. I think that's a fair point. Okay, Corrupted Silence is next. So Corrupted Silence is the ordinary silence from the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, wielded by Mortarion, but now it is stuffed with Nurgle's corruption and a demon of Nurgle itself. So it has a demon in there empowering it, and it is stuffed with plagues and diseases. And I think it's said that anything it touches immediately contracts a disease that will slowly rust and kill it. So it's pretty damn strong. It's definitely beyond Primarch tier just from that information alone. But oh wait, what did I just do? I think this was down here. Yeah, right? I really hope so. I think that was right there, right? Yes. This is definitely in the beyond Primarch tier. Where, though, is the question. So, the feats from this, it's able to split tanks, Greater Demons, and Reaver Titans in the book Godblight, and from the Death Guard Codex. It's damaging reality itself during Guilliman's duel with him, and it's able to clash with the Emperor's Sword. So, oh man. Oh boy. Oh my. So, if it's able to clash with the Emperor's Sword, which is the anti-chaos weapon, I think it's either top of beyond. I think it's universal. Oh man, I think it's universal, guys. It has a demon inside it, empowering it. It can rust and decay everything around it, and it damages reality during its fight with Gilliman. I think that, yeah. I think it's, I don't think it's, maybe a blade above the blades of the Phoenician because we don't have a tangible, quantifiable feat from the blades. Yeah, I would say it's above the blades of the Phoenician. We just, theoretically, if it did have a Crone Sword, which we are saying it does, we don't know its powers. And since the Corrupted Silence has various abilities and seems to be able to decay reality itself, it's got to be universal. I mean, it even clashes with the Emperor's Sword and does not melt. And for a Chaos weapon to not do that it's pretty impressive. Yeah, it's got to be universal. Damn. Mortarion, my man, getting up there. Okay, Magnus the Red is next, and I'm not going to say this right. The Blade of Anatura. The Blade of Anatura. I think I might have said that right. This is an interesting weapon. We have 1 feat from it, 1,000 Suns, and it parries Mjolnir. So that means it's got to be relative to Mjolnir. I'm going to say it's weaker, just at the back of Beyond Primarch tier. But if it's able to parry a weapon that one-shot a Warlord Titan, decapitated it straight up, it's got to be back there. And it's so funny because that whole feat, like I've said, came from a community boast about 500 random facts from 40K, and they said, hey, you ever heard of that Mjolnir weapon? Yeah. It's kind of like never talked about. Yeah, let's give it a random feat of killing a Warlord Titan with 1 head. What? Why? That's what I would say. If I was in the writer's room, I would be like, huh? What? What is this, Lehman Russ propaganda? But since it's 1 feat is parrying this in the Book of 1,000 Suns, it has to be relative to Mjolnir, making it Beyond Primarch tier. Quite silly. Okay, the Blade of Magnus the Red. So the Blade of Magnus the Red is a weapon that he can use to transform into anything his mind wants. And it has the very powerful ability to transmute targets into warped abominations. So it has the ability to do that. From out canon, from the Wrath of Magnus and the Gathering Storm, Rise of the Primarch, he uses it to bisect Grey Knights and Sisters of Silence, you know, the null weapons who are able to silence the warp, so that's already pretty impressive. And like Silence, it's able to parry the Emperor's Sword. So that is automatically a universal weapon. It's a Magnus the Red weapon already, guys. He's able to change its form. I would say it's probably above Blades of the Phoenician, but I don't know if it's over. Actually, I'm going to say this. It's over the Emperor's Shield. Is it over the Dionysian Spear, though? So the Dionysian Spear is able to nerf chaos around it. I'm going to say it's still universal, guys. I'm going to leave... I'm going to leave the Corrupted Silence ahead of the Blade of Magnus because the Corrupted Silence has just better feats. It has a unique ability, has a demon inside it, and still is able to stand up to the Emperor's Sword. The Blade of Magnus does the same exact thing, but I would say just because we don't see enough from it, then I'm not going to just simply put it over one over the other because the Blade of Magnus just comes from Magnus. That would just be straight up glazing. So I'm going to leave it back behind the Corrupted Silence in Universal. Damn, 6 weapons in Universal. Do you guys agree with me so far? I feel like this one might be the only reach because I'm saying it's with a Crone Sword, but it's also a collection of 4 swords, so you have to kind of understand that. But the rest of these, it's plain and simple. Blocks Demon Primarch strikes and sends them back, can perma-kill demons, clash with the Emperor's Sword, an already universal weapon, possibly the strongest Primarch weapon. The Dionysian Spear that was able to fight a post-Molech Horus who was the strongest Primarch at the time and nerfed him considerably. Yeah, I think those all make sense. Okay, the Crown of the Crimson King. This is a weird one because it's only ever seen in Wrath of Magnus, and it's a strong psychic and physical defense. That's all we really know about it. It's possible Magnus used it during the Siege of Fenris, and then the Axe of Mordecai broke the wards around it. I'm just going to say it's top of empowering. We just don't have enough from it really to quantify it and say it's a Primarch level weapon. I don't know. That's a tough one, guys. It's another tough one. But if it's impervious to every weapon in the Imperium, like it is in the Siege of Fenris, but it takes the Axe of Mordecai to destroy it, I'm going to leave it in empowering. I can't. It's just another one you can't just argue just saying like, oh, it's a Primarch tier. I'm going to leave it in empowering. Okay, so now we come to Horus Lupercal. First off, we have the Talon of Horus. So the Talon of Horus is definitely beyond Primarch tier. But where? I would say it's probably near the top. Possibly the top. Yeah, I'm going to say the top, honestly. Like, it's a standard Lightning Claw, mastercrafted and gifted to Horus Lupercal. But the feats it has, guys, it impales Leman Russ and Sanguinius easily. It no diffs their armor. It easily cuts through them. It shatters Worldbreaker, another weapon we're about to get into. And it also clashes with the Emperor's Sword. Oh my god, is it universal as well? Oh man. I don't know, guys, if it's universal. But you could make the argument that Horus was empowering the Talon during their fight with the Emperor. During just their fight in general. I don't know. It also mortally wounds the Emperor. Oh man. Is this a universal weapon? Because even Abaddon still uses it in the current setting, and it seems to just no diff armor. I can't. It's a mastercrafted weapon. The Blade of Magnus and the Corrupted Silence are altering reality just by existing. The Talon of Horus is able to. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a top and beyond because it does not alter reality like the universal weapons, and it doesn't perma-kill demons, but it did almost straight up kill 2 Primarchs and the Emperor. So I'm going to say it's top of beyond Primarch, but I can't justify putting it in the universal tier. That would be a little too much bald-headed glazing. But the feats we see from the End of the Death really show that this thing is something else, guys. Okay, so now we come to Worldbreaker, and this is a really hard one, guys. So Worldbreaker is Horus's mace. And it's pretty strong. He uses it to ragdoll Sanguinius and Knights in the book The Vengeful Spirit, and then later in the End of the Death Part 2. He also ragdolls Lorgar, so it's clearly either at the top of Primarch tier, or it could be beyond. The only problem I have with it is the Talon of Horus no diffs it and destroys it pretty easily. So I'm going to say it's probably top of Primarch. Yeah. Because if the Talon of Horus easily destroys it and shatters it, like when and it's not even wielded by Horus at that point. In the book The Black Legion, he just grabs the clone Horus's Worldbreaker and shatters it, suggesting that there's just a huge gap here. Yeah. I'm going to leave it at the top of Primarch. I think that's a fair one. Honestly, you could argue a beyond Primarch, but that downscale is just too much to avoid. It's too much to avoid there. Yeah, I'm going to leave it in the top of Primarch tier. I think that's fair. So now we come to the weird ones, guys. The Power Sword of Horus Lupercal and the Twin Link Bolter. These are just standard weapons, guys. I'm going to say it's this is definitely back here because it's just a standard bolter, and this is a standard power sword. Yeah, I'm not kidding, guys. This is only ever used in the book The Eye of Terror, which is an anthology, and in it, Horus Lupercal and the Emperor fight side by side against the orcs on Ulanor, and for some odd reason, he uses a bolter and a power sword that he never ever mentions again. And in fact, the power sword gets broken. So it's a standard weapon. You can honestly argue Cow's Corral because of its stupidity, but I'm just gonna be very, very accurate and put it in standard. And I'm looking down here and I'm seeing the end is in sight, which is quite frankly insane. So now we come to, oh man, Illuminarum. That's not how you say that. Watch a cow butcher. I butchered saying butchered. That's just comical. So this weapon is a ornate mace crafted by Ferrus Manus, and Lorgar even states himself in the book Betrayer that it's not an actual like powerful weapon, it's an ornate weapon, but the feats we see on paper completely contradict this and arguably put it in beyond Primarch tier. I'm not kidding, guys. It's able to crack Guilliman's armor. It hurts Demon Primarch Fulgrim's himself in Slaves of Darkness while they're in the warp. So Demon Primarch Fulgrim's already vastly empowered. Granted, Zardulac is saying his true name, which is kind of nerfing Demon Primarch Fulgrim during his fight with Lorgar. But additionally, this mace is able to shatter the Raven's Talon, which we're about to talk about in a little bit with Corvus Corax. I think it's either to the top of Primarch or beyond. I'm going to say it's top of Prime, but it damages a Demon Primarch, guys. I'm going to say it's up here. Oh my god, yeah. That would be consistent with the rest of the scaling. The Logos Fealty and the Fulgrim Fight Sword. Come on, the Fulgrim Fight Sword, yeah. It's stated to be an Ornite Power Maul, but it damages a Demon Primarch. It's got to be beyond Primarch tier. I still just can't believe this. It's like imagine you're in a fight. It pulls out the Fulgrim Fight Sword. Oh no, not the Fulgrim Fight Sword! Oh my god, if Dorn returns with the Fulgrim Fight Sword, we're all doomed. It's plain and simple. Oh my god, we have 3 left. 3 Primarchs left, and we're starting with Vulcan. So Vulcan has multiple maces because, like Angron, he said, I'm just gonna make as many Warhammers as possible, and I'm gonna lose all of them. I'm just gonna lose all of them. He made a conscious choice that he was like, I'm gonna make several Warhammers, and each of them are gonna be used in 1 or 2 books, and then they're gonna mysteriously disappear, and I'm never gonna use them again. That's pretty much what happened. So starting off, we have Dawnbringer, and Dawnbringer's used in the very beginning of the Heresy. Vulcan Lives, the Istvan Dropsite Massacre, and then briefly in Unremembered Empire. And it seems to be able to no-diff tank and Primarch armor, so right there, it's already in the Primarch tier. Probably nearer to the top, I want to say, or maybe like right, Forge Breaker was able to break Demon Primarch armor, but so is Silence, but yeah. And I was able to straight up kill a Primarch. I was able to block a Demon Primarch strikes for some time. Would this be like down here actually? Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe below the Moon Silver Blade? Because, okay, let's figure out this one first. We're gonna have to reanalyze that one. Okay, Dawnbringer. It's able to no-diff Primarch armor and tanks, and then it has a teleporter, which adds like a little versatility to it. I honestly, I'm gonna put it back here. It doesn't really have the greatest feats, but it's definitely Primarch tier. And let me just think about this one for a second. So this weapon was able to block Demon Primarch strikes for quite some time. It also shattered a Demon Primarch's. Okay, yeah. It was able to break his ribs. Yeah, I think that's solid. That's so stupid. What? The Fulgrim Fight Shield is also hella silly. What? Okay, so Dawnbringer's able to break tanks, has a teleporter, and was able to no-diff Conrad Kurz's armor and Vulcan Lives. But that wasn't really Conrad Kurz fighting. So what do we do with it? So Forge Breaker was able to break Demon Primarch Angron's armor, so it's below that. The Moon Silver Blade is parrying the Black Blade somehow. I'm gonna say it's right here. Yeah, I think that's fair because this is no diffing armor. This is cutting through armor. This is cutting through. What was Gorechild's even feat? I don't even remember. What was it? Breaks armor and vehicles and shatters adamantium. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I think that's fair because this is no diffing. This is destroying adamantium, but it also has a teleporter. These kind of relative low key. Once again, you could place this way up here because Drachnia is universal and it manages, and Gorechild manages to wound Drachnia. But I feel like there's got to be some chaos shenanigans going on there because this is Angron's Gorechild and Gorefather during the Great Crusade in the beginning of the Horse Heresy before his Demon Prince ascension. But once again, these are 2 axes, so maybe it's actually above it. Yeah, you know what? This is 2 axes, so it's above Dawnbringer. What the hell, man? Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. I think that's fair. This is hard, guys. This is like one of the harder lists I've done because it just the feats are just hard to quantify, you know? Okay, Furnace's Heart. We should have done Furnace's Heart earlier because this is also just like a random it's not random, but it's also not not a powerful. It's like similar to the Archaeotech and the plasma pistols we talked about earlier. So if we just got to throw it up there. It's a vastly superior plasma pistol. That's all we know about it. I'm just going to throw it in here because it's Vulcan. I'm going to say it's the best plasma pistol. We'll just say it's the best plasma pistol because it's Vulcan. The Smith Vulcan. So yeah, the plasma pistols just kind of get shafted in a way, so to say. Okay, so now we come to the Thunderhead. So next is the Thunderhead, and the Thunderhead is just some random Warhammer Vulcan made in the Mercy of the Dragon, and that's assuming if it is the Warhammer he used in Mercy of the Dragon, he was able to take down a massive mech. And I think that's more in line with Vulcan using his absurd strength. He's arguably the strongest Primarch of all of them. So if he's using his absurd strength, he could probably take down a mech. I think this is a classic empowering example. I'm going to say it's above Hellwinter, but I'm not going to say it's above the Archaeotech pistols, the plasma pistols, or the Combi Bolter because it's a Vulcan, man. Like he probably could do that without the Thunderhead, but I'm just going to give it to him and put it empowered. It literally has no abilities. It's not stated to do anything special. It's just a Thunderhead. Okay, now we come to Yurdukel. Yurdracool. Yeah, Yurdracool, right? I hope so. This weapon is insane. Okay, this weapon is insane. In the book Old Earth, Vulcan is possessed by the Emperor, and the Emperor completely builds this weapon for Vulcan. Vulcan has no memory of building it. He awakens to this weapon, and this weapon can permakill demons. It can break Ferrus Manus's necrodermis arms with a single swing, and it's able to shatter Magnus the Red and his nipple armor. Come on. This is an easy one. Master crafted by the Emperor, and it can permakill demons and break Catan-level necrodermis arms. Remember, guys, necrodermis is Catan. It's the Catan armor around them. And that shit is not easy to break. It's gotta be... It's up in Universal. That's an easy one. But where in Universal is the question? I think it's right here. I think it might be over... I think it's... I don't know, guys. It might be up here. Breaking necrodermis is an obscene feat. And it can permakill demons, and it managed to break Magnus the Red's body in Fury of Magnus. It might be the second strongest weapon. But I can't say it's over the Dionysian Spear. That thing is broken. I think it's right here. But then Corrupted Silence is doing that. I don't know, man. Breaking a necrodermis arm is pretty crazy. I'm gonna say it's right there for right now. It's definitely Universal. That is easily the argument, but I don't know if it's above this one. Corrupted Silence. So Corrupted Silence was fighting the Emperor's sword, was able to rust and decay everything around it. But Yurdracool is permakilling demons and breaking necrodermis, which I don't think any weapon here besides the Emperor's sword could do. But the Dionysian Spear is its own thing. It's kind of like a passive ability to nullify in the warp. Which I would argue is, yeah, I'm going to say it's right here for right now. But we could change that before the video ends. And then we come to Doom Tremor. So Doom Tremor is used in the book The Beast Must Die during the War of the Beast, and honestly it's not that impressive. I don't know why Vulcan replaced Yrdrakul, because this thing doesn't do the greatest job against the Beast. So it only manages to slightly wound him during their fight, and it's able to stagger him, and then he uses it to blow himself and the Great Beast up by overloading its power field. So I would argue, honestly, it's probably just back a Primarch tier. It's able to stagger a Primarch tier enemy and blow it up, but it also costs the weapon its use. It's destroyed in the attempt, and that's about it. The other feats include it's too heavy for Terminators to wield. It mangles a large group of orcs, staggers the Great Beast, like I just said, buckles Vulcan's own armor during an exchange due to counter blows, and it's equipped with a teleporter link. But I don't know. It just doesn't have enough feats to really back it up being higher than that. I don't know. It staggers the Great Beast, but that's kind of it. So then we get to Corvus Corax, and we have a heavy bolter. It's just a heavy bolter. It's the back of standard. It guns down Space Marines. It's a standard issue heavy bolter. And then we come to his whip, which is able to slice through multiple Space Marines, including Terminators in the book Deliverance Lost, but there's no indication of it being mastercrafted or uniquely enhanced by the Emperor or Dark Age of Technology weaponry. So I'm just going to leave it in the empowering tier, probably below Widowmaker and Krakenmaw, because all it does is kill a vast majority of Space Marines, and it seems like it's just crafted from Corvus Corax's homeworld, so it's not vastly empowered. So it's going to go in the empowering tier. Raven's Talons are probably relative to Lorgar's Maul right here, but honestly I would say it's... Oh, this is beyond. Oh, shit. It's not relative to Lorgar's Maul. It's actually down here somewhere, because it's able to pierce through Lorgar's armor. It slays demon engines, sorcerers, and Astartes, and it's able to defeat Lorgar in the first heretic. So, Demon Primarch punching, I'm going to say it's right here. I think that's fair. Over this one, though, it's able to cleanly punch through Lorgar's armor. Like, easily. I'm going to say it's right below Mercy. Is Storm's... yeah, because it... Yeah. Because this feat of cutting off Alfarius' head, it doesn't have that bearing because he wasn't helmeted, and he just cut through his hands. While Raven's talons cut straight through Lorgar's chest plate and would have killed him. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's right here, and that's fair. Oh my God, TJ the King is gonna hate me. That man loves Corvus Corax more than I love milk. Last one. Holy shit, we did this. I feel like I knocked this out really fast. I'm kind of proud of myself. Thank you again, Crabzilla. You're the best. Pale Spear. Pale Spear's so weird, guys. It's so weird. It's said to be able to atomize and melt anything it touches. But then, when we actually see it fight a higher tier level opponent like the Primarchs, like Rogel Dorn and the Praetorian of Dorn, all it does, it goes straight through his arm, Rogel Dorn tanks it, and then he kills Alfarius. It doesn't even seem to have an effect on him, to be honest. So I think it's a Primarch level weapon because it goes straight through his armor, but it doesn't seem to have a lasting effect on it like the Raven's Claw. So it's definitely below this. It's below that. I'm going to say it's probably like right here. Yeah, but it's just the unfortunate fate that it doesn't have any like true feats to back up besides punching through Rogel Dorn's armor. But then Rogel Dorn himself is not actually affected, implying that all it could really do is take out a Primarch's armor instead of their own flesh and blood, because their physiology is stronger than the Pale Spear. That's what I gathered from that. We just need some better Pale Spear feats, guys. And that does it. Holy shit, we actually freaking did it. We have 7 weapons in Universal. Let's review this before I conclude the video, just to make sure I agree with this. I'm going to go through this. The Emperor's Sword is number 1. Easy. Dionysian Spear is 2. I think that's a fair point. because it nerfs Horus so much that Leman Russ can actually land a blow on him, and then it completely drains chaos from him. Yeah, I think that's 2. Your Dracul is number 3, able to break Catan level metal. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think all the universals are pretty good. Once again, you could argue that this is just down here, but I think it's universal, guys. This one too, you could argue up here, but I think once again it's beyond Primarch. It isn't altering reality. Spear of Telesto 2, Lair Blade up there 3. I think it's all pretty accurate. I mean, there's a couple ones that are just so stupid, like the Fulgrim Fight Sword, and the Fulgrim Fight Shield, that are tanking hits from Demon Primarchs and cutting up Demon Primarchs like butter. But what can you do about it, folks? What can you do? Let's do a little pan out here. So this is the final list we got here. Oh man, the Flaying Knife, the only one in Cal's Corral. We had 6 in Standard. We had, oh my god, a lot of Empowering. Some of those weapons, though, it's just they suffer from the no feats, man, which is so sad. Primarch tier, we had a good amount. Honestly, pretty good spread. I feel like whenever I do tier lists, I feel like there's always a good equal divide. Like, there's no one so, I don't know, over the norm. Like, there's a lot of Empowering, but that makes sense because there's all the Archaeotech pistols went in there, and the plasma guns went in there, you know? Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid list. I think the only questionable ones I have that I'll leave up to the comments, you guys can argue about them. Blades of the Phoenician, the Black Blade, Spine Grinder was another interesting one. This one is like, it's not debatable because the feats are clear as day, but it's just stupid. This one was also another interesting one. I don't want to just put it up here because it's a Demon Primarch's weapon, so I'm going to leave it down here. This one had surprisingly good amount of feats. Doom Tremor, another one that was kind of like, I don't know. Soul Spear just didn't have a ton of feats either. The Moon Silver Blade, being relative to the Black Blade and pairing, was quite interesting. That was another one that I'm kind of like, about. But I think the rest of them are all pretty fair and square. So that's going to do it for this video. This was a long one coming. My Patreon picked this one. So it's a series I do on my Patreon where I call it You Pick, and they picked ranking all the Primarch weapons. So here we are, probably over 2 hours later, with all of them ranked from strongest to weakest. Shout out my YouTube and Patreon memberships. Ritter S, Impossible, Keydri, Jack Mintel, Musty, Nico149, Omar, Chris, and Soap Tastes Okay. Happy holidays from your favorite Fallen Cow. I don't know if this video is coming out in the end of January or the end of December or the end of January or the beginning of January. Jesus. Probably the end of December if I'm feeling really, really spicy, but probably the beginning of January. So, comment below if you guys enjoyed this video and what you want to see next. But, as always, my favorite bovine milk drinkers, stay milked, stay thirsty, and stay... Is it lane? What do cows do when they're in the grass? Is that lane? I don't know. I'm going to redo that. Stay milked, stay thirsty, stay hungry, and I'll see you in the next... Fuck. I'm not going to edit this because this is hilarious. Stay milked, stay thirsty, and I'll see you in the next episode of Powerscaling Peeps. Take care now.